Greetings, YouTube. Have you ever found yourself struggling to get consistently great colors within Darktable? Some photos work just beautifully out of the box, whereas others are a real struggle to get right. In this video, I'm going to show you how a simple color checker can radically and massively transform the colors of your photos and give you the perfect base for photo editing. So stick around, grab some coffee, and let's talk about Darktable. The pure beauty of Darktable is that it gives us a very neutral base to start off with, free of our camera's bias or other software processing, but technically speaking, even Darktable isn't perfectly neutral. All right, so it's my understanding that Darktable utilizes the Adobe standard color matrix, which in itself has its own biased interpretation, and that interacts with your own unique camera. All right, so for this to work, we'll need to prepare a few things. So we'll need our camera, our normal to short telephoto lens, and a tripod. We'll need a black blanket or a black surface to minimize reflections. Then we'll actually need our color checker card for accurate color calibration. And for this video, I'm using this $50 Spyder Checker 24, which I provided links to down below, as well as some other awesome color checkers. All right, so to create a generic profile for anything illuminated by natural sunlight, we'll first want to photograph the color checker card outside in midday sun with no clouds or nearby walls to create reflections. And we can take some additional photographs at maybe 1/3 stop increments to 1 to 2 stops, so we can choose the most optimal photograph later for calibration in Darktable. All right, and one more thing that's really important. For this generic profile for daylight, it really doesn't matter what white balance we set our camera to, but when creating profiles for some very specific lighting conditions, it probably will. So I wanted to point that out, and I'm going to explain that later in more detail. All right, so we're in Darktable now, and I've imported all of my photographs that I took of my color checker. Let's go ahead and make a camera profile for daylight illumination. All right, so first things first after importing is we're going to adjust the settings real quick. I'm going to open up the settings menu, go to the processing tab, and I'm going to make sure that this pixel workflow defaults is set to none. So that way we're not adding any additional processing on top of our images. We're using the most minimal processing possible. All right, so now let's identify the most optimal photograph for calibration for our profile. So I'm gonna go into the darkroom by clicking on an image. And inside here, I'm interested in this color picker here on the left. So the very first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna switch this RGB setting to lab. And inside the color picker, I'm interested in this left value here. So what I'm going to do is click the eyedropper and drag it over to the bottom left of the color checker on the brightest white square here. And I'm going to look for a value that's between 94 and 96 for the most optimal value. And this is 100, meaning that these pixels are blown out. So this photograph is no good for calibration. However, if we switch over to the next photograph, let's try this one. Clicking on the eyedropper, I'm getting 94.38. So this is perfect for calibration. All right, and one more quick note here. If we only have one photograph to choose from, we can actually adjust the exposure later in the calibration process to get a better fit for our profile. However, doing it this way is the most optimal. All right, let's go ahead and create our profile now. Now my stupid face is gonna get in the way, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn it off briefly. All right, so now what we're gonna do is go ahead and go inside of our white balance module. And inside that module, we'll see that by default, it's set to as shot. I wanna switch that to camera reference. And then after we do that, we're going to want to go ahead and go into our color calibration module and turn it on. And since I'm making a profile for daylight illumination, I want to have this at the daylight. Here we go. All right, so quick note here on the illuminate. Say we're making a profile for a much more specific lighting condition. We're likely going to want to go ahead and switch this to as shot in camera so that we capture the conditions of that lighting so our profile translates the colors correctly. And all right, kid, let's calibrate this thing and go home. So what we're gonna wanna do is go ahead and click Calibrate with Color Checker, and it's gonna bring up this Color Checker map. Now, since I'm using the Spyder Checker 24, I'm gonna go ahead and select the corresponding one right here, and I'm using the post-2018 one, so I'm gonna click that. Now what we're going to want to do is go ahead and adjust this mapping here and get this to line up with the squares. Do this very carefully. I'm going to go ahead and make these squares a little bit bigger. Making it a little bit bigger. We don't want these squares to be too big, because if it's touching the edge of the square, we might catch some of that shadow and it might really skew the calibration. So be very careful. We want to maximize that real estate of the square as much as possible. All right, I think that's pretty good. All right, so now what we're going to go do is click this refresh button here, which will recalculate the profile. And we'll want to pay particular attention to this output delta E. So what this means is anything over 2.3 is considered bad, and anything under 2.3 is considered good. So with 2.11, that means that on average, our colored squares are undetectably different than the perfect truth. So that means that this is a good fit. All right, so it's worth noting that no matter what we do, we will not be able to give 100% perfect optimization, but we can change what we optimize for by going into this menu here. We could optimize for like neutral colors like white, grays, and blacks. We could optimize for like skin and soil colors, maybe for like focusing on portrait photography, etc. Now, if it's set to none, it's just going to do what the color checker is designed for, and I think that's best for making a generic profile for daylight, so I'm going to leave it as none. All right, so if we're using a less than optimal initial exposure, we can actually improve our fit by applying these normalization values down here below to our exposure module and go ahead and recalculate it, and it will improve the fit. All right, so now that we've calculated our profile, we want to go ahead and apply it to the color calibration module by clicking this check mark here. All right, so I can best utilize this as a generic profile. I'm going to go ahead and switch this to as shot in camera. And then I'm going to go ahead and save this as a preset for color calibration. So store in your preset. I'm going to go ahead and call this Nikon Z50 Daylight. There we go. All right, so this generic profile can be used under a wide variety of conditions shot under natural light. We'll just need to adjust white balance accordingly. So let's go ahead and see this in action. All right, so I'm back, and I figured we'd start off here with a real bang, and I'm going to show you how dramatic of an impact these camera profiles can have on improving the colors of your photographs. All right, so I took this photograph of this yellow flower in a flower shop where the light overhead was diffused by the canopy above, creating this very soft and diffused light, which is perfect for flower photography. However, when I imported this in the Darktable and started processing it, I had a lot of struggle getting the colors right. Let me show you here. So if we go over to the photograph of the left, my first processing attempt, to me it looks very yellow, too yellow, and a lot more than I remember so, and it looks kind of unnatural to my eye, presumably because this was taken in some very unusual lighting conditions. So we can actually use a color profile to calibrate this to make this look a little bit more natural. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. All right, so when I was at this flower shop, I happened to take many photographs of my color checker in the same lighting conditions, and I used the same process I just described to create a calibration profile for that lighting condition, and I'm going to go ahead and apply that here. All right, so I'm going to do that by going into the color calibration module, going into my presets, and I'm going to select the preset for Nikon Z50 Tagawa Gardens, which is my local flower shop. Pow, here we go. So as you'll see, the color was immediately boosted and the colors were also changed. It got a lot more green, a lot more red, and the yellow, there's a lot more delineation in the finer colors of the yellow hues, and we can switch back and forth and just kind of see the impact that that had. It's pretty significant. All right, let's do some further processing. All right, so I'm going to open up the color balance RGB, and I'm going to start by adding some linear chroma here. And I noticed that when I started using these profiles, I started preferring to use the linear chroma grading a lot more than the perceptual saturation grading. But play around with it and see what works for you. So maybe something like that. I'm going to add some highlight brilliance to bring out some extra contrast to the highlights. Maybe just a touch of shadow. No, I'll leave it like that. Yeah, something like that. All right, then I'm going to add some local contrast. Okay. Notice that probably need a little bit more color saturation after doing that. And let's add some diffuse and sharpen as well to sharpen up this image. I'm going to do the lens deblur medium setting, my favorite. Back the color just a little bit. All right, something like that. All right, so I think the effect of this local contrast is a bit too strong, so I'm going to go ahead and go to the blend strength. And I'm going to pull this down a little bit. I think with these flower photographs, I like it to be a lot softer. That's better. And if we go ahead and compare it to the JPEG, we'll notice that it looks, rather similar actually. And if we compare it back to my original edit, when we started saturating the colors and adding that contrast, it just looks a little bit too yellow. And it's really hard to get rid of unless we calibrate it with like RGB primaries or manual color calibration. Or using this profile, the colors are significantly improved and it looks a lot more natural. All right, so now I'm going to add a frame around it. Then I'm going to go ahead and add maybe a little bit extra highlight brilliance here to make it a little bit brighter. Let's see here. Actually, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the highlight brilliance temporarily, and I'm going to increase the exposure. Then off of that, I'm going to add just a little bit of contrast here. There we go. I think that's looking great. If we compare it to the JPEG, it looks pretty similar, except I think our Darktable photograph really resolves a lot of those finer hues of color and the subtleties of the color, and I really like that. And it just looks a lot more natural than my original attempt without the color calibration. So I really like this result. Tell me what you think in the comments. All right, friends, so remember how I said that when we make a generic profile for natural daylight, we can apply it to a lot of photographs taken in a wide variety of different natural lighting conditions as long as we make some adjustments to white balance? Well, let's go do that here. All right, so in my home state of Colorado, we often get these really early spring snowstorms where it snows after the foliage already starts to turn green, which creates beautiful conditions for photography. And I took this photograph of this deer here in those conditions. All right, so I'm going to go into the color calibration module, and I'm going to go ahead and apply my daylight setting, but I'm going to use the one that I optimized for neutral colors because in this photograph we have a lot of whites from the snow, and I want to optimize creating accurate colors in the whites. So I'm going to use this profile, applying it now. Here we go. All right, so off the bat, we'll notice that the image got a lot cooler and a lot less yellow. We'll see that the grass got cooler, and so did the sky and snow in the background, creating more of that sense of cool conditions, which is exactly what it was photographed in. So let's make some more adjustments and optimize this photograph. All right, so for starters, I'm just going to warm this photograph just a little bit by adjusting the white balance just slightly. So I'm going to go to this chroma slider here and pull it just to the left, just slightly to make it just slightly warmer. We'll start with that. All right, now let's modify the color, contrast, and sharpness. So for the color, I'm going to go into color balance RGB and make some modifications here. Start with something like that. I'm going to add a little bit of contrast, probably more to the highlights than the shadows. All right. Now I'm going to go into diffuse and sharpen and use lens deblur medium to add some sharpness. And to bring out the texture in this deer's hair even more, I'm just going to use the generic local contrast module in its default state. All right, and after doing that, I noticed that the contrast in the shadows might be a little bit much, so I think I'm just going to go ahead, pull this slider back, and probably pull up the colors just a little bit more, maybe. Leave it like that. All right, so I'm absolutely loving the colors, contrast, and sharpness that comes out of this vintage 300mm f4.5 AIS Nikon lens. However, we do get some chromatic aberrations still with that, even though it's a ED lens. So I'm going to go ahead and use the chromatic aberrations module to clean it up just a little bit. Tend to find that setting around here works perfectly. Cool. And when I do that, I always like to add just a little bit of extra vibrance to compensate for the effect of the chromatic aberrations. There we go. All right, so if I zoom into the deer's hair here, we can see that when I go back and forth, the chromatic aberrations are being removed. Cool. All right, so let's see how significant of an impact this had by doing some comparisons. So going over to the JPEG, we'll notice that it looks relatively similar to the JPEG, though we did process it a bit differently. And going to the version I created without the color profiling, this version is a lot more yellow and a bit warmer. Going back to our new creation with the color profiling, to me, it just looks a little bit more natural, looks cooler, and we took it in some very cool conditions with the snow, so that makes sense. And I really like this new version. I think it looks really vibrant and really natural. I'm curious to see what you guys think. All right, YouTube, so by calibrating our camera to a defined standard, it significantly improves our colors and our color accuracy and gives us the perfect base for further editing. And hey, after you successfully color calibrated your camera, you might find the editing ideas in this Darktable tutorial interesting.